tell you all I want. Neither of us wanna be alone. Breathing in your love or your touch. Oh, it's what I'm.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have another special guest here for the show today. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you're calling from?
Well, thank you for having me. My name is Michael Forman, and I'm calling from Cumming, Georgia.
Well, Michael, wow, cool. Um, is there any snow out there? I have to know.
Well, it snowed here. It was about a half an inch. Now, I come from New York, so 18 inches of snow didn't make a difference. We plow it, we go to work. Here, it's funny because if you mention the word snow, they cancel all businesses, everything, and whether it snows or not, schools are canceled. So
Whoa.
yeah, it's very different. Very, very different. But I'm getting used to it.
Tell me, Mr. Foreman, about your past leading up into your present.
Well, as I said 100 years ago when I was in the service, I was in the Air Force and I was a young guy who outranked a lot of people. And I learned how to speak to those people on a level where they wouldn't get annoyed with me. They would listen to what I have to say. From there, I had my own businesses. I had a pizzeria, restaurants, graphic design studio. Um, I had a
Tell
Ben and
me about
Jerry's.
your businesses. Tell me about your
Well,
businesses.
well, pizzerias. We had the best pizza in New York. Restaurants, without a doubt. We had when I say we, my brothers and I, we had the business. Graphic design studio was mine. Ben and Jerry's was my brother's, and it all came around to we had a good time. We worked really hard, but we had such a good time, and we treated all of our employees very well. Because as you know, the better you treat your employees, the better off your customers will be because your employees.
What's one thing you learned from having these businesses that you kind of messed up on and you learned from experience how to overcome that?
Well, it's very simple. Even though they are your employees, don't speak at them, speak with them. Listen to what they have to say because they have a different outlook on all the businesses that we had, but you listen to them because listen, they may have some good ideas. Other times you take what they say, okay, thank you very much, now go back to work. But otherwise, you say, okay, well, let me think about that. So if you listen with open ears, you'll learn some things.
Tell me about, well said, by the way. Tell me about you actually speaking at summits and events. So
Well, I
after
go
the
around.
business came that, right?
Yeah, after the businesses, I worked for somebody. I worked in the mortgage industry for over 10 years. I worked in the law industry as a sales director. Um, but when I began speaking on levels of a conference or a summit or things like that, it became very dynamic. When you speak to them, you have to tell them everything about when you meet somebody, a prospective client, from your body chemistry, by looking them in the eye, shaking their hand firmly, feeling that feeling of confidence. But remember, you're at an event or you're speaking to somebody, you are the professional, you are the expert in your field. So the things you say should really correlate to that.
And you, when you go to the summits and stuff, how many people actually be there speaking?
Well,
And tell me about your first experience too, speaking.
okay. Well, the number of people at the conferences or summits, there could be 500 people there. I don't know whether or not I do a keynote or a breakout session. The difference is the keynote, you're in front of everybody and you speak a little bit, or a breakout session and you have just the people that sign up for that session. So it varies. My first speaking engagement wasn't that large. There was about 50 people, and I began instructing or telling them how to properly network, how to communicate with other people and network. And that created enough of a stir where they wanted me to go to their corporations, their companies, and tell all of their people how to do this, because what I tell them is, I just don't want to speak to your salespeople. I want to speak to your back office people. I want to speak to your customer service people. I want to speak to your warehouse people, because everybody interacts with all your customers on a different level, and you should have the mindset of over supplying, of, you should over, um, what does the saying go? Overdevelop, over, I don't know. But it's, it's important that you give more than what you're receiving.
Did
That's
you
the key to it.
did you rehearse before you went out there on the stage, like in front of your family or something? Or did you, or in the mirror, did you sit up, or did you not rehearse and you just came out there and there were monitors that you'd read from?
Yeah, no, I work off of slides, so
Oh,
that
that's
helps. Yep. And slides are made so you just put bullet points and you speak about those bullet points, right? So that's it. So practicing networking is like any other skill. You have to practice, practice, practice to get better. So every time that I speak that much better about it. But I have the slides kind of as a fail-safe. And
Mhm.
listen, whenever you talk about business network or communication, it could be very dry. So you have to inject a few stories, inject a little humor, and make it interactive, so that your audience isn't just sitting there and listening, that they're actually paying attention, writing notes, and interacting with you.
How many businesses you've done this for? Are they
Uh,
Fortune 500 businesses?
well, I've gone to a few large corporations. The conference is a multitude of companies in one place, but the workshops I go into are larger corporations, accounting firms, banking firms, um, big names that I went into. I have a few that I might go into in the first quarter 2025, like a Coca-Cola or Pepsi, but
And
they're
what do you teach them? Like, how, I know you said it before, but give me an example of what you teach to them with your, because PowerPoints is pretty good. PowerPoints is on point. They always have the bullet points with the speaker notes. I love PowerPoint. You can now, I think that's going to exist for a long time from now.
yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? All right. So let's say you go to a networking event. What do you do? Because you walk through the door and wow, you're hit with like 300 people.
Mhm.
So what do you do? What's your mindset? Well, if it's a networking event, or a conference or something else, pick up the sheet of paper with tables and figure out which ones you want to go see. Do that, and then put it in your pocket. Walk up to the tables that there usually are, 4 or 5 people in each, and that's where you begin your networking process. So the first thing you do when you walk up to a table is not speak. Don't talk. That's the worst thing you can do. You have to listen. You have to listen for the conversation. Is this a conversation that I want to be a part of? Well, if it's not, politely bow out, go to the next table. If it is, wait for the conversation to work around to you, You say what you have to say and see which one of the people respond to you. And then you kind of give them your attention. And here, once you start speaking with that person, I I I created I didn't create it, I stole this. FORM, family, occupation, recreation, and a message. Have that in your mind when you're speaking to them. Because one thing you have to learn is that people love to talk about themselves. They can go on for hours. They go on about their family, about their occupation, about something. But you're finding something that you can go on to the same level as them. So, okay, so Kimberly, oh, your husband is here? Oh, he's not here? Well, that's great. Do you have children? Oh, that's fine. How old are they? Oh, that's good. It's a little boy. He plays Little League. What position does he play? You're doing everything but talking about business, and you're letting them speak, and they love to talk. And then it's going to work its way around to what they do for a living, and that's their occupation. And you say, and let them talk. Say, okay, you know something? I like you. I like what you do. I like how you do it. How can I make you more successful? How can I be a great referral source for you? And he's usually blown out of the water, like, for me? And he tells you everything. And of course, you exchange business cards. Now, on the back of that business card, what do you write? You write down the date, the name of the function, and something you spoke about, because that will help you later on when you do your follow up.
That's true. And I'm that is well said, like seriously. You know, tell me more about, like, for a simple man like you know, you are possibly, I don't want to know your finances, but you've been a sales director for a corporation, right? So that means that you know what it's like to work sales. So tell me, if there was an entrepreneur out there that wanted to know more about how to maintain stability when they become, or if they become, like 500K to a $1 to $2 million a year corporate mogul, what would that be?
Well, organization. You have to be organized. Once you get into a sales director's position, you're basically managing other salespeople. But each one of those salespeople have to be organized in order for you to be organized. And what I mean by organized is have a CRM. And if you have a CRM, you put all your contacts, all the information in there, and you keep up with all of your contacts through that CRM. And of course, my CRM will look a little different because I'm keeping track of all of what they keep track of, right? So that is what is important, is the most important thing about staying in touch with everybody is using a CRM, using it properly, but using that follow-up system that you have in place to make sure that you don't fall through the cracks, that you stay top of mind with everybody. Now, the follow-up from a conference is a little different than who you meet. And there is a secret sauce to my follow-ups where it almost guarantees you that you will remain top of mind.
Okay. And when dealing with the business, you know, or do you still have your businesses, by the way? Or you sold them?
No, 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 sold. All of them are gone. So all I'm concentrating now is doing the workshops in the companies or going on to stages with conferences and things like that. And so I'm a professional speaker.
How did you get into your workshops? How did that come about?
Well, it's simple because when I would speak, a few people in the audience would say, oh, you have to I have to bring this back with me to my company. And they invite me into the company and just speak to the employees of their company.
Okay. And like, is it online or is it physical?
Uh, Both. I do more physical than online. I fly all over the country and I go into workshops. I go into the companies. Usually, the workshop is an hour, 2 hours long, but I'm there for about 4 hours, answering questions, handling what they do, um, different scenarios. I really give them a full taste of what it's like to perform the business networking arena.
And how how many conferences or summits or workshops have you did? Like, like do you go towards the workshop and then towards the summit you rotate? You have a busy schedule. What do you use to keep your schedule, organized?
My CRM.
What is
I
a
put everything
CRM?
customer relationship management system. It's a
Oh,
system that you put all of your contacts in. Like I use what's a software called HubSpot, and in
I heard of
HubSpot,
that.
okay, so it puts all of the names, all the information that you do. If I make contact with you, that goes in there. All the calls, all everything else, it's all annotated in there. And if I'm going to do a job for you, if I'm going to go into your company, then that goes into another category, and I set that up. So after all the negotiations go on back and forth, I do it. Part of my follow-up system is I'll give you, there's a secret sauce for my follow-up, but one main part of that is writing a handwritten thank you note, not online, not anything else, handwritten. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you for taking the time for meeting with me. I had a great time in the workshop. I hope your employees learned a lot. If I can do anything in the future, please let me know. Michael, I put my business card in it and I send it to you. So now, 3 days later, you're at your office and you look at that and you see a thank you note. Now, does that put me above anybody else? Well, it may keep me top of mind. It may not mean that I'm the best, but I created an environment where it's easier for you to follow up with me.
What do you enjoy about it the most? Getting these contacts and using CRM.
Oh, it's have you heard of the thrill of the hunt? It gets you going, okay? But once I am in front of all these people, I'm helping them, I'm educating them about networking and communication because this is good for not only corporations, but I go into high schools, I go to colleges, because if you're a 20 something or 30 something, everything that I'm saying to you is Greek. You haven't heard of it. You never heard of it. All you heard of Zoom and cell phones. You never heard of this personal touch. And there's a something was written from 1,000 employers about Gen Z employees. 2/3 of them have been fired. They don't know. They don't have professionalism. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to follow up with anybody. They don't know how to do it. All they know is Zoom. And so what I teach them is all of this. So if I can teach them in high school before they get to college, college before they get out into the world, then they're one or two steps ahead of their friends.
Are there other competitors, or it shouldn't be no competitive type thing, but are there any other like competitors out there that, you know, um, feel that what, cause it's a win-win. You learn about, growing and networking and everything, and you make a friend or make a possible somebody you can call friend or be close to, and that can connect you to monetary things, and like not privileged, but things that a normal person wouldn't usually get, all because you took the time out to sit up there and network with people and get to, that's how I feel. What do you feel?
No, if you do the smallest thing, if you hold the door open for somebody, if you say thank you, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, show respect, be polite, it goes so much further than just speaking at them. Okay. So when I'm speaking with anybody,
Mhm.
I'm not only speaking to that person, but I'm speaking to his network of people that he knows. Because maybe they don't need me. They don't need what I have to say and what I do, but they may know somebody who does.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, and you shouldn't just limit what you're doing to conferences or workshops. What about when you go to the grocery store or a department store? What's to stop you? Mortgages. Let's say you're online and the people behind you are speaking about mortgages. You don't have to know that I was a mortgage person. You can turn around and give them that little bit of advice
Mhm. Mhm.
and turn back around. It's being a good person, first of all, but going that one extra step to being a good person, to helping somebody else, because what goes around does come around.
Is there a little psychology in what you do?
Well, the psychology is to be a good person. It's
Yeah.
it's very
Okay.
easy to be a good person. It's very easy not to be a good person. I
Mhm.
personally find it easier to be good. And with everything that I've done through all the businesses, the military, civilian, it doesn't make a difference. The better you are to people, the better they will respond to you. And the better they respond to you, the more open they will be to your work.
So you've actually studied this before, or have you learned it through a book, or how did you get to where this point?
Hard knocks. I went to the school of hard knocks. That's right. I had to make 1,000 mistakes first before I got to the right answer. So I learned all what not to do in my years of trying up to this point where I think I've got it and I'm looking to educate other people.
Wow. Okay. And if you wanted to talk about like 2 minutes to talk about um anything that I did not cover, you're free to talk about that. Because I want people to know that this is a networking thing. I want people to know that kindness goes a long way. I want people to know that the time it takes you to say hi to somebody versus the time it takes you not to say hi. Like I said to myself, I said, when somebody say hi and somebody don't speak, that's them being selfish. That's them being selfish because it doesn't take nothing to speak back and say hello, and they have to learn. You can tell a lot by personality, by the way people speak and behave, So you have the floor to speak for 2 minutes about, sell me what you basically sold 500 people.
Well, there's two parts to meeting somebody, meeting a prospective client. Let me narrow it down. And I told you about going up to the table, how to meet them, how to converse with them, but more importantly, the follow up. And the follow up, I have a secret sauce, so to speak. I have a way that you can follow up with somebody that will almost guarantee you for them to respond to you. Now, that's all you're looking for is a positive or negative response, but a response because you don't like to send something to somebody or speak to somebody and not have them respond. So, really quickly, After you finish the networking event, you write them an email. That night, you go back home, back to the office, you write them an email. Hi, Kimberly. This is Mike. I met you tonight. Thank you so much for giving me your time. I hope you're well, Michael. And just send it off. Okay. The next morning, you send that handwritten thank you note. That's right. In my briefcase, I carry around a stack of handwritten of thank you notes. Kimberly, this is Mike. I met you on such and such date, such and such an affair. We spoke about your husband, your son, and I understand he plays Little League. Good luck with all that. I hope to speak with you soon, Michael. Now, in 3 or 4 days, you're going to receive that. You're going to receive that thank you note, and that will speak volumes. But let's say you still haven't responded with an email. I'll respond that 3 or 4 days later, and I'll say, hey, Kimberly, this is Michael. I met you at such and such date, such time, at such and such an affair. We spoke about your husband. I repeat all of this every time because once I repeat it, it's going to sink in, and you're going to remember where you met me, what it was for, what the event was, and what we spoke about. Listen, I just noticed that next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, my schedule seems to be fairly clear. Would one of those days be good for you, Michael? Now, usually you'll get a response, but let's say you don't. 2 days later, you're going to send another email. Hey, Kimberly, this is Michael. I met you on such and such date, such and such an affair. We spoke about your husband, your son playing Little League. I had said to you that Tuesday and Wednesday was open. Tuesday got a little busy for me. How was Wednesday, Michael? Now, if you're any type of a good person, you will have responded to me. But let's say you still haven't responded to me. You wait about 3 days, you send another email. Hey, Kim, this is Mike. I met you on such date, such a time, such fair. We spoke about your son playing Little League. I said Tuesday and Wednesday was good. Tuesday kind of closed up. Wednesday seems to be closing up. Why don't you pick a date and see if it works, Michael? Now, if you haven't sent back an email yet after all that, you probably aren't going to send an email. So what do you do with the information? Take the information. You take all your information, your name, address, your phone number, everything, put it to the CRM, put into the notes all the different ways that you try to contact them, and you put them into a drip campaign. Drip campaign is just sending out an email once a month, reminding you of who I am and what I do. And that will keep me top of mind. And I know this works because 7 months ago, I did it with an event planner. I didn't hear one thing from him, not one. And every month I just sent a new email. Last month, I got it. Hey, Mike, how you doing? I have an event coming up. Would you be interested? Like we were talking every day for the last 7 months. So it works.
Wow, repetitiveness. Yeah.
And consistency.
Okay, well said. And how can the people reach you if they needed to reach you?
Well, it's very simple. You go to my website, michaelaforman.com. On there, all the podcasts that I've been on. It's a contact form. Put your information in there. I'll call you back within 24 hours. I also developed a digital course on networking. And if you want to buy it, it's there. I wrote a book. If you want to buy it, it's there. If you just want to know about networking and you don't want to buy the book, you don't want to do the digital course, I have as a download a PDF that's free, 100% free. So all you have to do is just go to the page, download it, and you'd start your networking journey.
Well said. I want to thank you for joining my show today. Thank my audience for joining my show today. Stay on the line. You all take care, be safe, and I will see you guys another time. Bye.
Never waste my time. You are I want.